Lowetide.com. This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Proudly locally owned and operated.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way, I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers shut out Seattle on Saturday, the most complete game we've seen in some time. Can this team repeat that performance tomorrow night versus the Minnesota Wild? We're going to find out. The Lowdown is presented by Wolf GMC Buick, family-owned, community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. As you know, we are on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also on YouTube. After the show, you can catch us on Apple and Spotify podcast, and we tweet it out on X. And if you're online, like you're sitting in your little cubby hole at work, and there's no TV or YouTube or whatever, or no radio handy, we're online at sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. Twitter, we're at Lowetide, Declan Krueger, J Fenwick 04. You can text or call us 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. Our guest today, Rachel Krychak from Metalytics and ESPN, and Jason Krueger. Rachel will be on at 12:40 to talk about the Edmonton Oilers. Jason will drop by Oilers chat. We're going to talk about their lines and pairings. Jake Wallman is back. That courtesy Jason in a tweet earlier. All straight ahead for you. And, of course, we have declinations as well. Going to be a fun show. Lots to talk about. And a little upbeat about the Oilers for the first time in some time. All right. It's time for the introductions. He's a Dungeons and Dragons aficionado, but he has no charisma. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
I'm a little offended you said I have no charisma, but all right.
Well, it was like, isn't that a D&D?
It is a D&D.
Yeah.
It is
So
a little stat.
I could have said you have a lot of charisma. I went a different way.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
I'll just take the -1. That's all right.
Okay.
D&D joke for you all.
He's just coming off a weekend of football heaven. I'm worried he might pull a Lane Kiffin and bolt to another show mid-season. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
Hey, I had that chance. I turned it down. I believed in the program. Decided I'd stick it out here.
Yeah, but that was before you started trying to push me out the door. So did
It was
that
right
coincide?
It was right at the beginning.
He saw the opportunity, though.
Listen, I still got a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You'd be gone soon, right?
Yeah,
So I'm holding out for that.
Well, what was soon? It's such a non-specific period of time. All right. So,
by the way, no one can be mad at Lane, right? Like, we're all on the same page here?
No, he was a jackass, and Al Davis was right. You want to dispute that?
Bro, no, yeah, of course. Like, he's getting a better opportunity,
okay,
better
let me ask you
organization,
something.
better.
You can solve this now, and I won't be mad. How often does, after a guy leaves before the bowl game, how often does a team win the bowl game with the interim coach?
Very infrequently.
Oh,
but
so all those kids have committed to the program, worked their various body parts off, all year working for a goal. They all sweat and bled for that team and that helmet and that logo and their coach. And then he goes, "Oh, geez, I'm gone."
He asked, well, listen, a couple things here. He asked to coach the team through the playoff. Keith Carter, the AD, said no, which, by the way, I fully understand. 2, you're talking like Ole Miss has already lost. Like, they're going to host a game. They might end up playing Oklahoma or BYU. They're probably going to get a win in the college football playoff.
I love you, and even more important, I respect you. This is a BS move by a BS guy.
Lowetide, if Ched rings you and says, we're going to double your salary.
Al Davis was right.
Al Davis.
No, I'm telling you now. I'm maybe a different situation because I was sitting in my car at West Edmonton Mall waiting for my daughter to come out. I don't know what she was doing in the mall, probably shopping. Sure. And Gregor calls me and he says, "Al, what do you want?" And I told him, and he said, "Good." So my loyalty to Gregor, I wouldn't go anywhere. Now Kiffin's different, obviously, but I think you could wait a week. And I don't talk to me about the school year starting. I don't give a rat's ass about that.
Well, that like it or not, that does play into it. Listen, if you go from $8 million to 13, and you go from a worse job to a better job, and you go from less resources to more resources, like, no one can be mad at him for taking that.
Yeah, I can. I am.
Okay, well, I think that's ridiculous. I mean,
that's fine.
$8 million to $13 million a year. More reason. By the way, he walked in the door and the number 1 recruit in the country was waiting for him. Because that's what happens at LSU. That wasn't happening at Ole Miss.
You know what's more important than all of that?
What
is your own personal integrity and your word, and committing to that team like those young men committed to you to get where they got this year.
And they can go visit him in the transfer portal, and I'm sure a lot of them will. And here's the other thing:
That's exactly right.
He's not going to win a national championship at Ole Miss. He might win one at LSU.
I'm not arguing.
That's his legacy.
I'm not arguing that he has to somehow not take the job. The fact that he took it when he did, and I mean, he had to know they were going to say no.
He had no choice. He had to. It was now or never. It was literally now or never.
I had to take the double salary. Come on, he was making good money where he was.
Yeah, but it's not just the money. Like, everything about LSU is better. Like, it's with all respect, it's going from Fox Sports 1 to ESPN. It's going from.
Well, I don't have to like it, and you can like it all you like. There you go. We're obviously going to talk about this more, but I think it's a bad look for Lane Kiffin, and it's not the first time.
I feel very bad for those kids. I do.
Man, that's a lot of work for nothing. Thanks, Coach.
They might win it.
Yeah. Well,
they won't because they're not good enough, but that won't be a Lane issue.
Okay. Saturday, the Oilers played well. Man, I was so impressed. Lots of good things were happening. They were back-checking like demons. Their outlets were fine. They were physical. They took penalties, but they killed them all off. The big Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at center, that gives you such a lift. And then playing Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at center is half the battle. Then you also split, for the most part, Draisaitl and McDavid. So up the middle, you had McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent-Hopkins, and nobody can equal that. Man, that is a good way to go. They also faded Nurse's minutes. Now, part of that was that he had been in a fight, but I still think it gave them an opportunity to rotate the pairings. And Kulak actually had a pretty darn good game. The entire team did. They were contesting things. They were making things difficult for the Seattle Kraken. And I know they're not the Colorado Avalanche or the Dallas Stars, but that was an impressive game. And I think they got some answers. And we have to remember that they got days of practice and they got some rest. Now they come back and they play Minnesota. If there was a time for this team to go on a 7-game patented Chris Knobloch winning streak, this would be it. And we'll see. As I mentioned earlier, the lines and pairings go like this. This is via Jason Wallman, by the way, on the ice. He's not listed here. He and Tomasic were the extra players. These were the lines. McDavid between Savoy and Hyman, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Mangiapane, Nuge with Henrique and Janmark, and Lazar with Frederick and Clattenburg. Ekholm Bouchard, Nurse Regula, and Kulak Emberson. That Emberson played well. He's been coming on here a little bit. That's another story. Regula, I think he has a little bit of catching up to do. We'll see as time goes on, but they now do not have Troy Stetcher, so this will give all of those cats on the right side an opportunity to stake their claim and work hard towards the deadline. The Oilers would make a move if they had to on defense, I'm sure, but right now they're doing well. And, of course, Wallman will factor in either on the left side or the right side. Things are looking good on the defensive side. It was highly rated at the beginning of the year, and then not so much once they started playing, but I think they're coming back. By the way, The Athletic has their NHL goalie rankings, Volume 1 out, and of the 32 teams, the Edmonton Oilers rank 31st, 31 overall. And Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard, they take a little heat in this analysis. I'm going to quote here a little bit. When Skinner is on, he's a strong starting goalie. He uses his size well to take away shooting options, plays with good structure when he's reading plays. He just hasn't been at his best nearly as consistently as Edmonton needs. He also doesn't have the strongest reinforcement behind him. Calvin Pickard's minus 3.69 goals saved above average expected brings his career total to minus 41, ranks 251 out of 258 goalies who have played since 2004 or 14. That's not good. And I find it ironic. The team that's behind them is the St. Louis Blues, and everybody wants the Oilers to trade for Jordan Binnington. I wrote in The Athletic today that I felt like the things that, not like every year, he comes up with a way to tweak the roster and send them on their way to a winning streak. When he first got to Edmonton, one of the things he did was he played the Ekholm-Bouchard pairing with the McDavid line 70% of the time at 5-on-5, and it really cashed. He faded Nurse and Cody Ceci that year, and it worked out. And he just had faith in Stuart Skinner. That's the God's honest truth. They also moved Jack Campbell down the line and brought in Calvin Pickard, and it worked that year. The following year, remember, they signed all the free agents, then they had the offer sheet, so it was basically a new team. He was basically a new coach again. Same problems. They took their time finding Darnell Nurse, his Spartan partner, who ended up being Troy Stetcher and a little bit Brett Kulak that year. And they also faded the goaltender a little bit before they finally committed to Stuart Skinner, and both worked out again. Those two names, Nurse and Skinner, were part of it. And again on the weekend, Nurse gets faded, partly because of the penalty, and Stuart Skinner, they finally give a chance to. He gets the net and he plays well. But all 3 years, this has happened. Nurse gets faded a little bit until he finds his game. Skinner, they show faith and confidence in, and he eventually finds a better game than he has shown in the first few months. Overall, I think that may be the plan. We'll see if it works. Minnesota and Jesper Wallstedt, by the way, will be quite a test. But I was very impressed with the Oilers playing. I know Seattle isn't the greatest team in the world, but they're a good team. And the Oilers beat them in every area of the game, including great effort and heads on a swivel, attention to detail, all the things the Oilers do. When they do well, they win. And this was a convincing win for Cobb. I think everybody felt really good about it. And good on Stuart Skinner, man. It was to hell and back last week, and he did a great job holding up through some pretty critical analysis, and he had a shutout on the weekend, so hopefully that's good. And I don't think anybody got the flu from the autograph signing thing, so I would say it was a good week for the Edmonton Oilers. A nice way to end a shutout in Seattle. Any comments on the Oilers, gentlemen?
So yes, we do. Josh is going to go first. There was a little hesitation between who was going to go first between the two of us, but
Well,
Josh's
okay.
mic was on.
You can always go first.
Hey, thanks. You take it though.
We have the chipmunks on Bugs Bunny here, boys.
Yeah, I know. Oh, why Iota. Yeah, I was a shutout from Stu is incredibly impressive, even though it is against the team that's, I think they're second last in the league in points per game. So, but still a shutout nonetheless. So I think there's some momentum that's going to build. I think the real test is what happens now in this 5-game homestand,
Sure, yeah.
leading off with the Wild and a goaltender that you could have drafted but decided not to, and who's now playing incredibly well.
I think that's something for fans, but I don't think the players and certainly management don't think about it. They weren't here when that happened.
I guess you're right. Yeah. But so there's that and all these other things. But was it the most impressive Oilers win? I don't think so. Like I thought both McDavid and Draisaitl's goals were quite soft. Like they weren't stellar goals or something that you could have made a 10-bell save on. It was just sort of like a
6 high danger chances against Stuart Skinner, though. That's pretty good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
That is really good. I think, what did Gregor say when he was on the Carriers? I think also the Kraken are dead last in generating high danger chances.
Mm-hmm.
So giving up 6 of them, I don't know what the baseline is, whether or not that's good or bad. I don't have that in front of me, but seems relatively decent.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's making 6 saves on 6 high danger chances, maybe Stuart Skinner's turning a page here.
He's done it in the past, not every year, but he's done it in the past. Played better in periods of time in the second half. I know they're saying they're not going to go get a goalie, but I suspect they will by the deadline. Declan?
Yeah, listen, this was the most tailor-made matchup for them to go and have a get-right spot. And they went out and they did it. And they looked great in a lot of different areas. It was a good win against a team that's playing well. But with all respect to Seattle, I don't think anyone views Seattle as a premier team in the Pacific or in the West or the NHL or anything like that. But albeit good win, Stuart Skinner with a shutout, which, second of the season, very impressive. It's tough to do at the NHL level. And, he's had obviously some pretty low moments. So it's great to see. The one thing I would say is that Edmonton has had some of these big moments before, like that Carolina game. Last road trip. That was a big win against a good team. The Florida win, I know Florida was banged up, but that was at the end of the road trip against obviously the team that beat you twice in the Stanley Cup and you beat them. That was a big win. What I think they've kind of failed to do is build that momentum we've talked about from those big wins. And I think when you look at their schedule, Minnesota, Seattle again, Winnipeg, Buffalo, Detroit. I mean, that home, like that is, we should be looking at 5-0-0 here.
That never happened.
I know. At the worst, 4-0-1, right? Like, I mean, Connor Hellebuck for
push back on that. The NHL isn't that kind of league.
I get that. I totally get that. But I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for a 5-game homestand to build momentum, you want to be looking at this one here. And you look at all of those games and say, we should be able to pick up 5 wins there. Is it going to happen? The NHL is a professional league that is very fluid. You are probably not going to go 5-0-0 through the next 5. But when you look at this part of the schedule, say, hey, let's finally build some momentum off a much needed win. This would be the spot to do it.
I agree with that totally. There's no doubt about it. I think that what I liked about the Oiler game on Saturday is that's a repeatable game. They're able to have that kind of structure. There was a lot more support. I felt the gapping wasn't as wide. I felt that they were stretch passing, but not at the point where it was the only thing they did. They showed different looks for me, and I think that's a real positive. And there was a lot of calm feet. The defense, they used to not give up the blue line, and now they do it like routinely. I thought there was a little more iron on the defensive side, and I wonder if they just had those days of practice that really helped, and we'll see. I mean, you've got to prove it for more than one game. Lots of comments about the Oilers not making a move via trade, but I never thought they'd do it. December trades are pretty rare in the NHL, and if you're moving a goaltender, especially in a league where everybody feels like they're pretty much still in the race for the playoffs, that's going to be a premier cost. The Oilers don't have any cap room, and they don't have a lot of assets. So they're between a rock and a hard place. And look, it was self-inflicted. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of it was Ken Holland. But, there were contracts signed with no movement clauses this summer again by the Edmonton Oilers. They got to get out of that habit, because when they struggle or somebody gets hurt, they've got no room to roam, and especially in goal, where they have a $2.6 million budget to find a better goaltender than Stuart Skinner. So Elliot Friedman's comments on the weekend about the Oilers maybe not going out and getting a goaltender who's a similar type and not upgrading, that makes complete sense to me. And the guys who are upgrades are making way more than $2.6 million, which means that you're in a catch-22. You're not going to be able to go get that goaltender. Maybe at the deadline, you can find a rental who's playing well. That would be my guess. Honestly, that's what I think will probably happen. All right, it's 12:16. Before we shape up the weekend or the schedule for the day, what have you got coming up on Declination, sir?
Yeah, Monday. So you know what that means? ABBA. I don't know why I just said ABBA like that. ABBA Mondays. Mamma Mia will be the tune. It will be Mama MMA. There were a lot of fights announced for the first Paramount card for the UFC coming up in 2026. I got a lot of thoughts. Basically, I'll sum it up with this as a little bit of a tease for an hour and 20 minutes from now. The UFC is turning into the WWE, and we hate that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's going to be a little upset going on when you talk. I like it. I like the sounds of it. Okay. On the way, we have rumors. Rachel will come up at 12:40 today. Rachel Krychak from ESPN and Betalytics. Jason Gregor at 1:20 today. We have declinations, and your comments will be marbled through the entire show. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
What did you do here, Mr. Rooter?
Well, we've got a Jube Jube toilet, complete with an icing-based wax seal. The main water line is licorice, red for hot, black for cold. You got your standard marshmallow hot water tank and a candy cane sewer line. And on the outside, candy corn hose pips. Disgusting, but they get the job done.
To have your Yule clogs fixed, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
We want orange. Give us the orange. We want orange. Bring up the orange.
You got it, Canada. Booster Juice orange smoothies are back by popular demand. The original, the marathon, and orangesicle smoothies are back and bursting with tangy zest of oranges. They're Canadian favorites. Orange, you glad they're back? Only for a limited time. So squeeze the day, smoothie lovers, and head to a Booster Juice near you now. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
More Edmonton families than ever are struggling as food prices skyrocket. The Holiday Hamper Foundation provides festive meals for 2,000 homes in need. Your donation ensures a turkey is on the table for every family. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and people who suffer brain fog might think it's just going to be part of their life. But listen, I've seen a 38-year-old man managing a concussion read her kid a bedtime story without losing the plot, all because of cognitive rehab that rewires the brain like a GPS reboot. Your brain isn't broken, it's buffering. One missed beat in focus, memory, or balance snowballs into frustration, falls, or forgotten keys. Stroke, concussion, long COVID, even aging can all lead to brain fog. Cognitive rehab works. Check us out at leadingedgephysio.com before your next "where'd I put my phone" moment.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
$14.40 at $12.21. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. I like that. That's a nice song today. It kind of fits the Monday blahs too, right?
You know what that song's called? Mississippi Kid by Leonard Skinner. I felt it was apropos.
Yeah. No, it feels like that kind of day. Although I don't have any pistoles on me. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself, greatcanadiansolar.com. I mentioned to you the lines and pairings, pretty much the same thing, but I wanted to run through them again because, in all honesty, there are some things that could be happening on this roster, and we'll find out as days go by. But McDavid and Savoy with Hyman stays. I thought they played well. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Mangiapane, that was one of his better games. Mangiapane, they need him to get going. Actually, Hyman, Savoy, and Mangiapane, if they could get going, if they could be a big part of the Minnesota win, that would really help. Nuge with Henrique and Janmark did okay as far as I can see. And then Lazar with Frederick and Clattenburg as well. Clattenburg is becoming a star in this town. He's got some ways to go as an NHL player, but he has shown very well in his first cup of coffee. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse Regula, Kulak, Kulak, Emberson, Wallman, and Tomasic extra forward and D. No word from Gregor. We'll talk to him 120 about the goaltender, although there's plenty of time off, so you could run with either one, including Stuart Skinner coming off a shutout. He may well get the gig. This is strange. Blues Jimmy Snuggerud is going to miss multiple weeks. He suffered a left injury that will require surgery. He'll be reevaluated. Additionally, Alex Torpachenko will be missing the next few weeks after a leg injury too. It's interesting to me that St. Louis is interested in trading their goaltender Middington, and the comments from Elliot Friedman on the weekend were like, "There's no upgrade, right? We don't have an obvious upgrade, and we're not just going to trade laterally." And I think that really does address the situation with Binnington. And, Saros they can't afford. There's no way to get that cap number down. You could trade, Skinner and Kulak, and they could retain, but those are two free agents heading to St. Louis. You'd have to add on top of it. To Nashville. You'd have to add on top of it to make that happen. So we'll see. And then there was a rumor on the weekend about Pittsburgh Penguins maybe making a deal with the Edmonton Oilers with Tristan Jarry. That to me is a little more palatable, but I still think it's a cross move. So when I know a lot of fans were upset when Friedman reported that, but to me that's just logical thinking. And no disrespect to Ken Holland, but this is an area where he might make a move that he would regret or might regret. And we can get into the moves that Peter Chiarelli made that he would regretted, but it would take too long. So keep your powder dry. Wait until the deadline or near. There'll be a larger pool of goaltending talent at that time, and I think you probably end up getting a better deal and a better goaltender. Contract tracks between the St. Louis Blues and Philip Broberg are not happening. That's interesting because Philip Broberg was offer sheeted by the St. Louis Blues, and you're wondering when the next contract would come, and maybe this is going to be a situation where he doesn't spend a long time there. We'll see how it goes. Interesting times in the National Hockey League. Golden Knights recalled Carter Hart. He will play tomorrow night. Tyler Pitlick has cleared waivers. A lot of Oilers fans wanted to see all the Pitlicks down in Bakersfield. And by the way, watch the Condors on the weekend. They're looking good. That top line is out of sight. I have no idea when anybody's going to be recalled. Ike Howard is playing very well, but so is Josh Szymanski, who is a German center, 23, big guy, range of skills. He could be a guy who plays here at some point in the next couple of years during his entry-level deal. I don't foresee him getting called up this year, but you never know. And then Quinn Hudson is going off down there. He's got 19 points in 18 games, playing really well, scored a pile of goals since Ike Howard got to the minor leagues. We'll see. But you don't want to oversell this. I did reference on the weekend in an article at The Athletic the Bulldog line in 2000, when in 99-2000, Michelle Reason on left wing, Brian Swanson in center, and Daniel Cleary on right wing really played well as the Bulldog line in Hamilton in the AHL. And the following year, in the fall, Craig McTavish, who was a brand new NHL head coach, he brought them all up. They all played. Daniel Lacouture got a little bit of time on that line as well. Cleary was the only one who ended up having a substantial career. However, it was pretty cool at the time, and that line in Bakersfield is reminding old guys like me of that period of time. In football, we're going to talk again a little bit about this, but I wanted to do the NFL stuff first. The NFL weekend is always wild in the streets. I wanted both of you to talk about your Buffalo Bills, if you would, and what you saw on the weekend from your favorite team.
You hear that? Our Buffalo Bills.
Well, I'm a Buffalo Bills believer, maybe not that much this year, but my team won on Thursday handedly, so I'm feeling pretty good. Your team won handedly.
Yeah, but you can't say out loud that you care for Cincinnati. I mean, you got to.
Sure, I can. Joe Burrow's back.
Oh,
I feel good.
Man. Okay, what about the Bills?
Yeah, I want to check the possession stats here, because my number one kind of take. Yeah, this is
Buffalo controlled for like 3 quarters. Oh my
goodness, yeah, 41-59 time of possession for Buffalo, 18 minutes and 1 second for Pittsburgh. 74 plays for Buffalo, 43 for Pittsburgh, 377 total yards for Buffalo, 166 for Pittsburgh, 249 yards rushing the ball for Buffalo. That was the story of the game. Like, this is one of the games, if you if you were kind of not paying attention and you just like looked up every now and then, you'd be like, oh wow, man, Buffalo has the ball again. Like they've had the ball a lot. That was the story of the game. Like all Buffalo did was grind that clock down. All they did was control the game. I know it maybe looked in doubt, if you want to call it, at halftime, but even when it was 7-3 for Pittsburgh at halftime, there was no one I know. Like I watching the game for me, certainly I wasn't like, oh, Pittsburgh's running away with this. Pittsburgh looks great here. It was all gearing up to be a Buffalo win, and they just ground down the clock. They were better in the fourth quarter. I don't know what the possession numbers are in the fourth quarter. It felt like Pittsburgh didn't have the ball at all. Pittsburgh wasn't some team that, like, they're not a bad team. They're a 500 team. They're fighting for the top of the NFC North. I give them credit. But Pittsburgh wasn't a team you circled that, hey, we're going to go out there and blow their socks off, blow the doors off them. But that's what Buffalo did. They just completely controlled and owned the game. I still have my issues with Buffalo, but really, really good, needed performance.
Did you want to talk about Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo looked good. Keon Coleman caught a touchdown, so that was impressive. They still have wide receiver troubles, which is why they have the most rushing yards in Pittsburgh as a visiting team since 1980. I think that was the stat.
What a stat.
So
their leading receiver was James Cook with 33 yards. Their leading actual receiver was Brandon Cooks, who had one catch for 13 yards.
Shout out to Brandon Cooks, former Houston Texan.
Still doing it.
Still out there.
I would like one or both of you to wax poetic about the Denver Broncos, who do appear to have God on their side this year.
Well, listen, it's shout out Nick Bonito. It's tough to win games in the NFL. Okay, I don't care if you're going to overtime with Washington and they're taking 2-point converts. Like, it's tough to win games in the NFL. We just saw the Panthers beat the Rams. Like, any team can win. It's any given Sunday. The Jets got another win. Granted, Atlanta's terrible. The Broncos, I'm stamping it right now. Best team in the AFC by a wide margin.
By a wide margin?
Think about it, my man.
I'm thinking about it, and like, they do not make these games easy on themselves.
But they win them.
They do win them, but
it's a
like,
thin line, man.
Like their offense. Now I'm playing the guy who's like, oh man, Buffalo, like what's going on? Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, man, Buffalo, that's the stuff right there. And Declan was me.
Yeah.
But having watched more Broncos games now, I'm like, man, like this offense is tough to watch.
This is their last 7 games. Or last 8 games, sorry. Win by 1, win by 3, win by 3, win by 3, win by 20 against the Cowboys. That's hilarious. Win by 1 against the Giants, win by 2, win by 4. That's their last 8 games.
They have God on their side.
So like he's
a Broncos fan, or she's a Broncos fan.
But here's what I would pitch to you, gentlemen. Nothing, despite them winning the games the way they're winning, nothing about the way they plays makes you believe they'll lose come playoff time.
This was like a Max Brosmer pass. I'm like,
but this team, it's always like, oh my God, they're on a great run here. But like I think you have to have a soft game once in a while. And I guess that was the Dallas game, but man, they're winning. Their margins are so thin. I don't know that they can continue.
Do you know what this?
Yeah, but I'd rather be a 10-2 team that wins close than a 6-6 team.
Sure, but that's not that. Are you sure you're going to go like 7-0 from now on? I don't think you can be.
All right. Do you know what this team reminds me of? Remember that 11-0 Steelers team from like 3 or 4 years ago?
I do, but they're way better than that team.
Everyone
knew that team was a fraud. People don't really feel that way about Denver.
I think Denver's a fraud. People
may look at Denver as a fraud in the sense that they don't believe they can win the Super Bowl.
They almost got beat by Marcus Mariota last night.
Did you see?
They didn't.
Did you see the Vikings play?
Oh, it's
interception. Oh my God! I laughed out loud when I saw that highlight.
It's
it just throws the ball right to the like. It's like, I gotta get rid of the ball, and it's like bang.
Kevin O'Connell did so wrong by Brosmer yesterday. Like in the last 2 weeks for the Vikings, their quarterbacks have had worse QBR than if you just spiked the ball every play.
Oh. Wow.
Famous Nathan Peterman stat. Yeah, Brosmer, his QBR last night,
32.6.
His QB rating was 32.8. His QBR was 5.6.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's where we go. The percentage one or whatever. That was bad. It was bad watch. Credit to the Seahawks though. They were great.
Well,
they're a good team, man.
Yeah, they are. And they didn't have a lot of opposition. Okay, just really briefly, we've got like 3 minutes here. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let you talk. Give your best defense of and why, aside from the money. Lane Kiffin bolted, even though the bowl game is yet to come.
Well, listen, this is kind of how I described it to the texter Dwayne. And I want to say, by the way, I do feel very bad for those kids in that program because I think the committee is going to slightly hold this against them. I don't think they should. Well, actually, that's not true. I do think they should. But I think they're going to hold it against them, and it does suck for those kids on the field. And to Lane's credit, he tried to stick it out. He tried to say, hey, let me coach it through the playoffs. But this is a conversation I had with Dwayne on the text line. If an employer comes to you with a better job, increases your salary by about 50%, is going to give you a better work environment, more resources, more opportunity, but then you turn around to them and say, hey, I actually need one more month of my old job, they would probably feel kind of slighted by that. LSU said, hey, we're giving you all this. These are our terms. We need an answer. To their credit and to Lane's credit, he gave him an answer. And also to Lane's credit, he tried to stick it out at Ole Miss. He really pulled for it. He wanted to coach them through the playoff. Keith Carter said no, which I totally get. If you're leaving, why would you let him keep coaching? Like, okay, so you can just poach our entire contingency plan. That doesn't make a lot of sense either. I feel bad for the kids at Ole Miss, but listen, they're still going to be a playoff team. And quite frankly, I'd probably pick them to win a game if they're playing like BYU or Oklahoma in the first round. But Lane did what was best for him. It's his legacy. You can't kill him for that.
No, sure. And Lane Kiffin is not the guy who leaves any organization on good terms. And that is part of his resume. So, fill your hat, make your money, win your national championship, maybe. But
he should be leaving this one on good terms. Honestly,
no,
3 straight 10-win seasons.
He ruined that.
That's I hate to say it, like that's kind of an Ole Miss faithful problem. Like he gave you the best run in program history, basically 3 straight 10-win seasons, 2 11-win seasons. Like they didn't have that before him. There should be some level of appreciation for what he's done there.
Maybe in time, but not today.
Yes,
that's going to take a little while. All right, it's 12:35. We've got 2 guests straight ahead on the show, and we also have declinations coming up. Rachel Krychak will join us next from Metalytics and ESPN. We're going to talk about the Oilers, a few other teams too, and really what has been a bizarre first 25, 26 games in the National Hockey League. Everybody's in it, and that's making trades and other things a little less likely. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Holiday special, Legacy Heating and Cooling saves Christmas.
You tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress, guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
Get the lowdown with Lowetide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton's sports leader. Sports 1440. The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. You can check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. First Christmas Carol. I love Jingle Bells. It's the best. Really nice version of Jingle Bells there, Declan. Appreciate it. Well done. We are now joined by Rachel Krychak from ESPN and Betalytics. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. Can I have the Grinch intro music for December? Is that allowed?
I think so. I think we can work on that.
I love it. It's my persona. I haven't changed my Twitter profile yet to that picture of me photoshopped as the Grinch, but December 1st, so it's coming.
There you go. Look forward to it. All right. Oilers fans are clamoring for a goaltender to be brought in and replace Stuart Skinner. But when I heard the name Binnington, my first reaction was that this is Ken Holland back in town all over again. Stan Bowman has to aim higher than that, right?
When I saw that, I almost texted you and said, "Are you joking?" Like, I thought it was a joke. You need to not just aim higher. You need to take that sight and point it in the opposite direction of wherever you're pointing it, because that's not the goaltender you need. Yes, he's in the playoffs, but if the Edmonton Oilers don't need one thing, it's inconsistency in net. And with Jordan Binnington, you might as well just take the roulette and just go, phew, and that's pretty much what you're getting. So that's not what the Edmonton Oilers need. I'm not even remotely convinced that he's a better option than Stuart Skinner. And given the assets that are going to be needed to acquire him, I would just go with Stuart Skinner. Now that's not really an option. So yeah, readjust your sight, because if that's where you're aiming, not good.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that, I mean, based on what we heard from Elliot on the weekend, it sounds like that's exactly what the owners are thinking about. And as you get closer to the everybody's in the damn race right now. So you've got two goaltenders that you're talking about, because everybody else is like, man, we got a chance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? You have to be able to identify goaltenders that are going to be able to step up, right? Why couldn't the Edmonton Oilers identify a guy like Scott Wedgwood? He would be fantastic for them right now. He was and still is admirable in replacement of Mackenzie Blackwood when he was injured, so much so that he's in Olympic contention. Do I think he should make the team? Probably not. But the fact that he's in contention, I'm sure the Oilers would take that level of goaltending to be certain. Their ability to identify and sign goaltenders to contracts over the last, call it 15 years, has been not great. So whatever they're doing, they need to reconsider, and trading for Jordan Binnington is not something they should be doing.
Opposite George is what they need to do. Rachel Krychak, our guest on Sports 1440 and the Lowdown with Lowetide. Oilers clicked on Saturday with a shutout. They faded Darnell Nurse, Alec Regula, the pairing, Nurse in a fight, but they played less than the other two pairings. And the team didn't give up much in front of Skinner. Why can't they play that all the time? Is it the opposition? Is it that they had rest or practice, or is this the beginning of a turn north?
I think it's a combination of things. Number one, like you said, putting Nurse on the third pair. If you remove Nurse's contract from the equation, and that's tough to do, but the cap is rising, so it could be manageable. If you play Darnell Nurse on the third pair with another reliable defender, it's going to be one of, if not the best third pairs in the National Hockey League. It's that is exactly what the Edmonton Oilers need. And then I'm not saying that the Oilers are going to get that level of stability from the top two pairs like they did on the weekend. But my goodness, you see what the results are when they do. And so I do think it was a function of improved practice time. And the thing about the regular season, specifically in a condensed schedule, is you don't have a ton of practice time. So when you do get it, you want to see results. So I do think it was significantly positive that we saw that from the Edmonton Oilers. And hopefully that's something where I said to myself when I watched the game, that's a performance that you can build upon.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so I look at this with the Oilers and I go, okay, you've now shown yourselves and the world that you can do this. Use that. And instead of taking one step back down, take another step up and keep going, keep pushing, because it's one thing to do it against St. Louis. It's entirely another thing to do it against Colorado. So can you do it against tougher teams? That's going to be the next test. But I do think they played better defensively, and getting more practice and putting Darnell Nurse to anchor the third pair were huge pieces of that.
So you brought up a couple of points there about the standings and the how close everything is and the compressed schedule, and all of that has an impact. So my question for you about that is, and it's happened when I was a kid in 1970, the Canadians won in 69 and 71 and missed the playoffs in 1970 with the same team. What are the chances that a good playoff team misses the playoffs because of this, malaise that they're all experiencing with the compressed schedule?
I'm going to say this now. I think one, if not both, of Florida and Toronto missed the playoffs this year. And I mean, Florida's back-to-back Cup champions. They're riddled with injuries. Toronto, ditto with the injuries. And so, I mean, it is compressed schedule. A lot of games are being played. It just kind of seems very wonky. But the other part of this is that I'm not remotely buying into the Thanksgiving rule. And I took a screenshot of what the standings look like, because the standings, like, conceivably a team who wins 3 straight. So Toronto won against Pittsburgh on Saturday. Let's say they beat Florida and Carolina, or they lose to Carolina, but they beat Montreal. Let's say 2 of those wins are in regulation. They're immediately in third place in their division. Yeah. It's so compressed because some games are 3-point games and some games are 2-point games. And until that's corrected, it's a lot more difficult to kind of prognosticate where things are going. But I do think we're kind of in a situation where a really good team, certainly not Colorado, based on how they're playing, is going to miss the playoffs. I do think it could be one of Florida or Toronto, just based on the injuries and the start that they've had.
That would be wild. Toronto missing the playoffs in the year after, and I know it's not Marner, but I think that would be that would be an entire summer of conversation around the hockey world. I wanted to ask you about injuries. I see a couple of more injuries on the weekend here, and it just seems like every team is down on an entire line or a pairing or a starting goaltender. And like Winnipeg, I mean, they haven't been the same since Hallebuck's injury. Why would you expect them to be? But have you ever seen this many injuries from this many teams?
I can tell you what I haven't seen before, and that's 2 injuries based in cooking accidents within 2 weeks of each other. Like, you guys all make well over $1 million a year. Could you hire someone to cook for you, please? And if you're not, maybe don't go anywhere near the barbecue of all places where you're going to burn yourself. So that, I don't think you can, those don't count because they're completely avoidable. But in terms of injuries generally, you have guys that get hurt no matter what. Jack Hughes getting hurt again. I mean, another fluke injury. Like, do you know how to use a steak knife? But again, that's somebody that gets hurt a lot. But then you have other guys that are getting hurt. And I do think condensed schedule. Something, when I was doing my master's, one of the people that was in my lab was looking at the difference in condensed schedules. They were using soccer because Jurgen Klopp had just finished his tirade about how all of these extra games are just feeding owners and they're not taking care of the players, and they were causing injuries. And his entire dissertation was about condensed schedules and injuries. And I don't have the findings completely memorized, but I do remember that the findings were that in a condensed schedule, you were significantly more likely to have more pronounced injuries, specifically muscular injuries and injuries to ligaments. And when we're looking at this, we see guys with ACL injuries, we're seeing guys with shoulder injuries, we're seeing guys with back injuries and groin injuries. And then you have whatever is going on in Toronto where they don't even tell you what kind of injury it is or how long it's going to be. Same thing in Vancouver. So I think when you look at this, the condensed schedule certainly is not helping. I think the NHL probably would have been better served by shortening the preseason and starting the regular season a little bit early, just to give themselves maybe an extra week or 10 days of buffer time, because it doesn't seem like it's that much over the course of a season, but it is. Like that's a pretty decent amount of time to add in terms of days off. Like an extra 10 days off is massive when it comes to injury recovery. And there's more back-to-backs and there's more 3 and 4s or 4 and 6s. And so, no, I'm not surprised we're seeing more muscular injuries. Bone breaks are not things that are going to be impacted. Guys who get injured blocking a shot, that's not the same. Concussion's not the same. But the muscular stuff, it certainly feels like we have a lot more injuries this year.
I want to return to the Leafs if I can. Rachel Krychak joining us on Sports 1440 from Betalytics and ESPN. I wanted to return to them just because, we've mentioned them twice a little bit, and the fact that the idea that they're not going to make the playoffs. Here's what I feel about the Leafs. I was all in on Dubas. I really believed in Dubas. I think he's a smart guy. He's proving that in Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, finally Toronto got it right. And I wanted the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup so that analytics would spread like wildfire, because if they did, it would. And at the time, the Oilers were without any analytics department. They now have one. So that didn't happen. Now Dubas is in Pittsburgh. And I feel like they're going to that, I'll call it the mid-range veteran general manager who believes that, you can never have too much toughness, and skating is a little overrated, especially in the playoffs. And I just feel like this team that Dubas created is sort of slowly but surely eroding and falling apart, and pieces of the car are falling off. And I'm not sure that it's long term, but I am sure that this team doesn't seem to be valuing the things that matter.
I wish I could tattoo that entire paragraph on my forehead. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is I will transcribe that, put it on a billboard out front of Scotiabank Arena so that the Maple Leafs management staff can see that. Because the reality is the fastest teams in the NHL also can play hard, but you have to be fast to be good. Who's the fastest team in the National Hockey League? That would be the Colorado Avalanche. And there isn't an argument to be made that they're not the best team in the NHL right now. They are far and away the best team. And so when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, under Dubas, it was a puck possession team, and it was high-end skill and hockey sense and betting on the actual skill of the hockey player and not so much on the toughness. And I do think there needs to be a balance, which is exactly what Dubas has managed to figure out in Pittsburgh. But now we're in a situation in Toronto where they've said, no, we do not need any speed or any skill unless you play on the top line. And we're going to have big defensemen who don't really know how to skate and can't make a breakout pass to save their life. And also this year can't defend. And if you have defensemen who can't break the puck out, but they also suck at defending, it's a giant problem. But hey, you know what, Lowetide? They're big and they hit. So I guess that's effective for the 1970s. I'm not really sure. And I do think Brandon Carlo being hurt is not helpful. Chris Tanev being hurt is certainly not helpful. Those are the two best right-handed defensemen. Morgan Riley and Oliver Ekman-Larsson have been fantastic offensively this year. They have been a car crash in their own end. And then outside of that, the fact that Troy Stetcher is the best guy that they've got, because Jake McCabe hasn't looked very good either, is a scathing indictment of what this is. And then letting Marner go was the correct call. I mean, he hasn't looked very good in Vegas either. But the problem is you can't replace him with Matthias Michelli and Dakota Joshua and Nick Waugh. There's no skill there. Michelli has some skill, but he hasn't really been able to use it effectively. Dakota Joshua has not been good at all, save for the game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so when you look at this, there were so many other better options. And then you have a guy like Easton Cowan, who is far and away the best performer next to Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes, and he doesn't get that opportunity. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, if I see one more night where Easton Cowan is not on the top line, I'm going to start screaming from the rooftops that the Leafs need to hire Peter DeBoer.
I'm just waiting to see where DeBoer lands, and it could be several different places, but that I think would be the midseason fix for a lot. Final question for you. Is Matthew Schaefer your rookie of the year right now in the NHL?
Not only is he my rookie of the year, I probably have him on the outskirts of the conversation for the Norris.
No.
The fact he's played his way into Olympic roster contention, and frankly, if the Olympic roster were made today, he'd probably be my 7th or 8th guy. Should tell you all you need to know about Matthew Schaefer. I mean, I really am kind of at the point where I don't think it's particularly close. Like, I look at the player value model that I have, and his player value rating is 8.2, and the next closest rookie is 4.01. So he's more than double his next closest competition. And what I would say is this: if we're really having a conversation about the rookie of the year, the other two guys that need to be in the conversation are Askarov and Volstead. It's not even another skater. Demidov has not been as good. He's not a point a game. He's none of that. And so when you look at this, you look at what Askarov and Volstead are doing, they look much better. And then the other guy is Nikishin. But Matthew Schaefer is just head and shoulders above everybody else. He's a top 10 defenseman in the league. Forget about rookies. And that's really difficult to do as an 18-year-old. So, I mean, I think he has, barring injury, he has this thing wrapped up.
Rachel, thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go. Rachel Krychak from ESPN and Betalytics. By the way, the New York Islanders have drafted a defenseman number 1 overall twice in their history. Schaefer in 2025 and Dennis Potvin in 1973. I mean, if you're going to wait that long, which is like 52 years between taking a defenseman number 1 overall, I think they've done it the right way. Okay, Jason Gregor in hour number 2. Your comments coming up in the 1 o'clock segment. We always have a lot of feedback from what Rachel says. And of course, we have declinations coming up. Mama MMA, lots of fight cards have been announced. We'll talk about that at 1:40. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors, Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom at 11577 149th Street. That's now open 6 days a week, and the Saturday hours are from 10 to 2. You can also visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring that next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers news via Jason Gregor. Jake Wallman will not play tomorrow. Later in the week is the goal for him. And Jack Roslovich and Kasperi Kapanen might get in a game before Christmas, but most likely they will return after. In the NHL tonight, we do have 5 games, 2 games kicking off the action at 5, Columbus and New Jersey, and Pittsburgh and Philly. The late game in the league tonight will see the Utah Mammoth in San Jose to take on the Sharks. In the NBA, 9 games tonight. It all gets going with 3 games at 5 o'clock, Atlanta and Detroit, Cleveland and Indiana, and Milwaukee and Washington. The late game tonight will see the Phoenix Suns in LA to take on Luka Doncic and the Lakers. Other news in the sporting world, Cal Foote has signed an AHL deal with the Chicago Wolves. Ekman Larson was on ice at practice today for the Leafs, and the Minnesota Vikings have waived veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen as he wants to have, quote, a bigger role to end his final season. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vinny and Donnan have to offer. Visit vinnyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
After 20 years, Canada's most prestigious international hockey tournament returns. The Camrose Viking Cup, December 28th to January 4th at Encana Arena. Tickets at vikingcup.ca. Brought to you by Sports 1440.
Aloha Edmonton, it's back. Century Vision Care's 4th annual Maui Christmas event on Friday, December 12th from 9 to 5. Century Vision Care, Edmonton's biggest Maui gym retailer, is bringing the island spirit to your holiday shopping. Enjoy in-house savings on all prescription and non-prescription Maui gyms, plus giveaways, prizes, snacks, and beverages all day. Same-day eye exam appointments are available, and they direct bill most insurance plans, but spots are filling fast. Get ahead on your Christmas list and treat yourself to a new pair of Maui gyms. Visit Century Vision Care on Instagram.
Ring in the new year with a Canadian country legend. December 31st, in concert at the Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Brett Kissel. She drives me crazy. With special guests Haley Benedict and Morgan Clyburn. Bring your friends, your cowboy boots, and your party spirit for a night full of hits, celebration, and unforgettable memories. Hosted by Chris Sheets. The countdown to 2026 starts with Brett Kissel live on stage. Get your tickets now at silenticecenter.com/events.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit sports encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. I read that correctly. That's the right way to say family. Everybody knows it. I'll hear no criticisms of that read. By the way, can we agree that's one of the greatest bands to ever come out of Canada?
Woefully underappreciated as a Canadian. And you know what? They still get their flowers. That's the crazy part. But they're awesome.
I think people always add them in at the end, like they'll
it's
say
like an afterthought. Like, oh, and the Bare Naked Ladies.
Right. It's like Hip, Blue Rodeo, and then and the Bare Naked. But listen to their song. They were brilliant. God, I love them. Wonderful band. And 2 writers and 2 singers. Always a good idea.
Stephen and Ed?
No.
All right.
Just want to say that the NFL was interesting this week. I did watch Seattle because it was on, and I couldn't find the game that I wanted. I've watched so many Seahawks going back to Largent and Zorn and Craig and God knows who else.
They're like Notre Dame for us. They're kind of just always on the TV, you know?
Yeah. And I've been to Seattle many times. I can never get a ticket to the Seahawks. You cannot get a ticket to the Seahawks, and you cannot get a ticket to the Seahawks, and you cannot get a ticket to the Seahawks. Get Mariners tickets all day.
More games.
No. Used to love the New York Rangers Bulldog line from the 70s. Left wing Dave Ballone, right wing Billy Fairbairn, and center Walt Kachuk from Mark. I remember them well. Do you guys remember any line at all? Because it's mostly pairings now, not lines. Like Hyman McDavid and Draisaitl Podkolzin. But back in the day, you could take your hockey cards and you'd have the New York Rangers and you'd have, I always had the center on the top. So it would be Rattel, Vic Hadfield, Rod Gilbert, and then it would be the Kachuk line, Kachuk, Ballone, Fairbairn. Do you guys remember, is there a complete line that you can name in the NHL?
Like ever?
Well, like now or ever.
Well, I mean, like for me, like Nuge, McDavid, Hyman springs. Like, is that too? Am I not understanding the question?
That's exactly what I was asking.
The Flames death lineup from 2022: Gaudreau, Kachuk, Mangiapane. That top line that outscored everybody.
What I liked about the Flames is that they kept all those guys. They were able to keep them all.
Yeah,
and
really
build on
something.
They built, and now they have 3 Stanley Cups to show for it. Like it's pretty impressive. It is quite impressive. I'm a happy sports fan all the time.
You know, as an adult male, sometimes I'm ashamed of myself for trolling you as I do, but I enjoy it so much.
You're an adult?
No,
I had no idea.
If it says I'm technically
Breaking news.
I'll show you my birth certificate. It's in little pieces in my wallet. I don't like to take it out because it crumbles. It's made of onion paper. Nurse is $9.25 million on the third pair. Yeah, and I want a Lamborghini for Christmas. JP on the island, like in the article at The Athletic today, I wrote about Nurse, and each year they move him down the depth chart for a time, and then he finds his game or finds a partner that he can work with, and that ends up working well. 2 years ago, it was they ran McDavid's line with Bouchard, Ekholm, and it really caught fire. So Nurse moved down the depth chart with Ceci. Not that he was a bad pairing. It's just that became the lead that they would go with every time. Last year, as you recall, Nurse had a hard time finding a partner. There was Travis Dermott. I almost said Blake Dermott. There's Travis Dermott. There was Stetcher, and there was young Ty Emberson. And they took a little while for them to find one. I think Kulak was in there too. So it took a little while to do that. I think they're in the same spot right now. I think they'd like to run Nurse. Who's the new defenseman who's hurt? Wallman. But they can't do that right now. So and Regula, I still think is suffering a little bit from concussions. So I think they faded a little bit on Saturday. Maybe they'll do it on Tuesday. Maybe they won't because Nurse was in a fight on Saturday. But it appears to me is that what the Oilers have done is they've tried to find support for Stuart Skinner in these years. Campbell left and Pickard came in, and I think they are still, because apparently the players want to go with Pickard. They're still trying to make that work. But if Pickard continues to struggle, they're going to find, I think, more support for Stuart Skinner, and maybe they go out and get a guy who would be the starter with Skinner as 1B. I don't see anybody out there they can afford financially or asset wise who would necessarily provably be better. But we'll see as the deadline approaches. You know, if a team falls out of it, or if Minnesota falls in love with young Wallstead, or if Calgary decides to trade, which goalie do you value the highest now in Calgary?
I still value Wolf the highest without a doubt, but Cooley impressed me a lot yesterday. Yeah, that was great. I had very, very, very low expectations coming out of the preseason, where he got lit up for like 6 goals against the Canucks, who we've now found out are not very good at hockey.
They're going to be they're going to win another Stanley Cup this year in Vancouver. They've won so many.
Yeah, well, you know, they got to go through that powerhouse they call the Calgary Flames. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
I just know Craig Conroy will never trade a goalie here, and also it's the systems partly too, right? Calgary always has good goaltending because they play a very structured system. The Oilers are all about freewheeling, and that means that there's going to be some chaos at the other end. And so when you're an Edmonton Oilers goaltender, not only do you have to play goal in the NHL, you have to play goal in the NHL when it's sometimes, not always, when they kind of lose they're like, I always call them like Neil Young and Crazy Horse at the Fillmore in 1970. There's a live album of that band playing, and they're so good, but they're so loose. You can actually hear them trying to find where the song goes when they're on the stage. It's really loose and really awesome, but that's kind of like the Oilers sometimes. Sometimes they're just like Crazy Horse at the Fillmore, and the goaltender's the one who's going to have to, you know, make it work. Grant Fuhr did, you know, Curtis Joseph did. And I think the Oilers believe in Stuart Skinner, at least to the point where they haven't seen a replacement out there that they consider to be viable enough to make a trade. I don't understand, Joe, what you're talking about. You're talking about the deadline to get another goaltender with the way they play now, standing in their division won't be a question. Well, I think they are going to make the playoffs. Like, I understand the idea that you're worried about them making the playoffs. I am not. I don't think that's a question. I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll probably be, I'll say they're going to be third, and they're going to have to start on the road. They've done that before. The trick is to find your best game, your best repeatable game. You need to find that before the end of game 82. Are you seriously worried about the Edmonton Oilers not making the playoffs?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Yes.
I didn't say, oh, sorry, because I wasn't listening. I just didn't know if you were throwing it back to Joe or if you were throwing it to me. But no, I don't actually think the Edmonton Oilers are going to miss the playoffs. But I do think there may come a point where we start to scratch our heads a little harder than we're scratching them now. Like I said this, I think on Friday, possibly Thursday, coming into the season, you obviously never give something 100 because it's sports and things can happen and you never know. But coming into the season, you're giving them 99.9. Based on how they had played prior to that Seattle game, and I know that's just one game, but it was a great showing.
Yeah.
You're maybe down to 90. But when you look at the Pacific,
I agree
Anaheim's playing very well, but I don't think Anaheim is a real threat in the playoffs.
No.
Vegas is playing kind of average. I don't think the Kraken are a great team. No disrespect, but like just their makeup, it's a second line everywhere at best, maybe even a third line everywhere at best. Like it's just, yeah. Then, you look at the rest of the teams like Calgary, forget it. Vancouver, forget it. LA, I don't love that. So no, I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to make the playoffs, obviously. But this kind of stranglehold they've had on the West for the last 2 years, I think that's where we're going to start to see hiccups.
Right. And I think that's all fair, but I agree with your 90% point. That's absolutely, in the range for me. They haven't had a hot streak. They just completed a devilish schedule in November. They'll find their way. Riggs says, LT, I don't remember Nurse fighting. I know he tried to engage that chicken bleep Marchment. Regula got into a tussle, though. Am I losing my mind? Well, he fights less than he used to. He used to, he's a good fighter. And he doesn't do that anymore, but he is playing a little more edgy game lately, and I think that helps Nurse when he's hitting hard and he's making plays physically. I think it makes him a better player. He's more engaged, and that's the kind of game that I think he can play well, and we've seen it more recently. LT, my dad made me learn about the Legion of Doom in great detail. Leclerc, Lindros, and Renberg, some of the great years of the game. My friend Jane is a big-time Philadelphia Flyers fan, but she never liked Lindros, never bought into it. And I always was interested in that. And they didn't win a Stanley Cup, but that line was furious, man.
Did she just not like the manner in which he came over?
That wasn't like, maybe that was it. I'm not sure. She just never bought in. He was injured a lot, too. I think that had a lot to do with it. Flyers fans like their best players to be toothless and winning Stanley Cups. That's my belief. I hate the term third pairing. This isn't the 90s anymore, where teams with third and fourth lines can't play and add zero skill. They're six defensemen. If Nurse needs to be played on the third pairing for a lot, so be it. Too much weight in salaries of players from AZ. I agree. I also think that he probably does. He had a good year last year, but there was a period of time where they needed to check down and find him a good partner, and they did. And the previous year, they just used Ekholm and Bouchard, and they found that, when they were playing Bouchard and McDavid together, they had great success. So like this is, you're tinkering, you're trying to find the key. And I wrote the article I wrote at The Athletic around the fact that they played so well against Seattle. Obviously, Seattle is in Colorado and Dallas. You've got to do it more often. But they did, either through the penalty or whatever the case may be, they did go with Kulak and Emerson. And I thought Emerson had one of his better games. That may have been the reason for it. They may have felt like they just could elevate him and he'd be better. French Connection, says John. You bet. I always loved the French Connection. Richard Martin, Gilbert Perreault, Rene Robert. I love their second line, too. Don Luce centered Craig Ramsey and Danny Gare, sometimes Jim Lorentz, but that was a great line, man. Gare could score goals. He was tough, too. He wasn't big, but he was tough. And Craig Ramsey was really smart. Imagine like Nuge playing left wing all the time. And then Luce was really good. He was a tall guy, two-way player, could win faceoffs, penalty kills, score goals, pass the puck. He was a fairly complete player. He was a Detroit Red Wings player, and they basically gave him away to the Buffalo Sabres. I was hoping the Oilers could swoop up Cooley off of waivers. Yeah, I mean, they're all done now, but and they did get their guy. They got Connor Ingram. By the way, he played well on the weekend. He got hurt though. He went out to play a puck and he fell and hit his head, and he stayed in for a time, didn't do well, and they brought him out of the game. I have not seen anything yet. If you have, text me, would you, at 833-401-1440. I'll check Ryan Holt here in the break to see if there's anything up. Linda had an issue of skating with his head down. Man, did he ever. I keep hearing from the pundits that the Oilers will find their way. We're 26 games deep now. I think this is the team they are this year. They've taken a step back. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Well, that's the thing, JC Glazier. We're waiting to find out. I mean, I was encouraged by Hyman. He's coming back here. Nuge just stepped right in. We haven't talked about him much. He was brilliant on the weekend, and they played a good structured game. They had their heads on swivels. The attention to detail was great. I think there was a lot of good, and you can say, well, it's only Seattle, but Seattle's a team in the National Hockey League, and the Oilers beat them. The big test is coming, as Declan said earlier in the show, against some teams they should beat. I don't think they're going to go like 5-0, but they should come out with a really good record here as December starts, and that begins with a stiff test against a young and emerging Minnesota Wild team. All right, Jason Gregor on the way. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Wing Wednesday at First Round. Whether you're coming for the first round, the last round, or a few rounds in between, they've got you covered. With half-price wings every Wednesday night. Half-price wings. Over 35 delicious flavors like Cajun salt and pepper, maple bacon, and Inferno wings. Now half price every Wednesday night. Wash them down with a cold pint of Canadian or Coors Light for only $5.75. Half price Wing Wednesdays at First Round in West End and now downtown. First Round, burgers, beer, sports.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Now for today's holiday special, Legacy Heating and Cooling saves Christmas. Santa's furnace broke down in the shop last night, and the elves couldn't make any toys, that's right, so Santa called up his pals at Legacy Heating. And ho, 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 golly gee, 1 year, no payments, interest-free, and the elves are working merrily with a brand new furnace from Legacy. Happy holidays from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
More Edmonton families than ever are struggling as food prices skyrocket. The Holiday Hamper Foundation provides festive meals for 2,000 homes in need. Your donation ensures a turkey is on the table for every family. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com and call today to get started.
Don't you worry about getting fixed up. When you wake up, you're pretty enough.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 at 1:20. Look at us. We're on time. Joined now by Jason Gregor from the Jason Gregor Show, coming up at 2 o'clock. How was your weekend, sir? He's coming into the studio. Well, it was good, Al. I walked the dog, and we went to the farmer's market, and nice to see the snow. Whatever. Gregor joins us. This is live radio. He's in studio with a camera that's a makeshift camera. And so let me begin with the question I asked you a second ago when you weren't here. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was good, Al. Yeah, it was good.
You enjoyed the Oilers game on Saturday?
Yeah, I watched it later because I had my son's, the team I coach, we had a game in the afternoon. And so just recorded the game and watched it later.
Right. Did both games end 4-0?
No, we won 6-3.
Okay. Well, still.
Yeah.
Clean win?
It's a win. Yeah, it's good.
I thought the Oilers played well. I thought they played a game that if they could repeat it, and obviously the Seattle Kraken aren't the Dallas Stars or the Colorado Avalanche, but they're looking for something consistent that they can take into a game and have confidence they're going to be able to win.
Well, if you look at that, we could probably make an argument that was their most complete game of this season when you consider Seattle never had a stretch. Like Skinner, when he shut out the Rangers early in the year, he stole the game.
Yes.
He was good in that game against Seattle. There were some chances, the breakaway and a few other kind of cross seam passes, but Seattle didn't have extended time where they were the better team.
No.
And that hasn't happened very often this year. Penalty kills perfect, 6 for 6. Power plays perfect, 2 for 2. You know, you chip in 2 5-on-5 goals. You don't give up anything. It's probably the most complete game they played all season long. Now, do I think it's a coincidence that it comes with them having multiple days off and a few practices? I don't. I do think rest is a legit thing. And I actually dug into it coming up in my Oilers Nation article. We'll talk about it on the show. Just, you compare, everybody's in love with Colorado. And I get why.
Yeah.
But I dig into Colorado's record a little bit. And, 13 of their 18 wins are against teams who didn't make the playoffs last year. 5 of their 6 overtime losses are against Dallas, New Jersey, Carolina, Minnesota, right? Good teams. And they have had 9 sets of 2 or more days off between games so far this year.
Wow.
Edmonton had 5, and 2 of them came last week.
Yeah.
Right. So they only played 1 game.
Yeah.
Right. So you look at, rest is a legit factor. Now in the playoffs, it's not as much of a factor unless you can finish your series quick and your opponent doesn't. Right. Yeah. But everybody's playing the exact same schedule in the playoffs for the most part. Yeah. Right. Especially your opponent until you get later in the round. So those are all the things you have to look at. And Edmonton hasn't had much rest. Now, that's not an excuse for their porous play. Like, I don't care. There's no way they should have been gifting the puck up as much as they have.
Yeah.
And, some of the terrible decisions they made. But the fact they got some practice time in, they had another good practice today. And now, hey, they got Minnesota coming in tomorrow night. Like, if they can win that game, Al, they really set up this homestand because Buffalo, Winnipeg, and Detroit are all playing the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, that'll be their 6th game in 9 nights, including the second. Like, if there was ever a guaranteed win night on the schedule, no Connor Hellebuck, a Jets team that's banged up, it should be Saturday night in Edmonton, no question. Like, if the Oilers lose that game, that'll be an awful loss just when you look at all the other factors around it.
Yeah, I always, at the beginning of the month on my blog, I predict their record for a month, and I predict that they would go 6-5-3. They went 6-6-2. It was a bear of a schedule, and it's compressed because of the Olympics. It eases a little bit here into December, and they've got to make some hay. You mentioned on Twitter today, Wallman not likely to play Minnesota, but he's close, right?
Yeah, he's close. He's not playing Minnesota for sure. I don't even think he'll play Seattle, to be honest. He didn't finish the practice today. No. So I think that's why I said Winnipeg probably at the earliest.
Right.
I think, there's that block shot, it just muscle soreness, tightness, bone bruise, whatever you got, it can last. I know people are like, well, you say a week and it's longer. I don't think some people understand how the injury works. This is not, Jason Gregor injured and I have to sit down and do my show, right? Like it's different to play professional sports when you're banged up or not. And so, Juan, and as I said, my only concern when he signed his contract was he has a history of being injured.
Yeah.
Right now, he blocks shots, plays hard, sure, but that's availability is, the
It's
best
part of it.
ability.
Yeah.
So, it's not great in that regard, but it's early. We'll see. It's like the Frederick run, 25 games in. No one's loving the Frederick contract. We'll see what happens. It's got a long time to see how that contract goes.
And I'll fully endorse him when he gets to be, healthy and 100%. He will show you what he can do. And he's a I'd say middle six. I don't know that he's a second line guy, but certainly a third line guy.
I think he's a third line player who can play in your middles and can play in your top six when you have injuries and do fine for short stints. And that's kind of, I think, what he is. But he's got to get his game going here. There's no question about it. And the Oilers, they got some guys coming. Actually, the Nugent Hopkins, Henrique Janmark line, I quite like that line. And, they're a line that's obviously very responsible defensively if you need them. So they can match up against anybody in this homestand. You put them out for a few defensive zone faceoffs, you're not going to feel bad at all.
Yeah.
Right. So that'll free up McDavid and Draisaitl. And if the Oilers can avoid overtime here and get games like, you have a multiple goal lead late, watch McDavid and Draisaitl's numbers come down. Because I crunched all the numbers. Everyone's freaking out about their minutes. I'm like, well, they've already played 10 overtime games.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at last year, I think, Edmonton played 17 the whole season. So when you had 10 in your first 24 games. Yeah. And guess what? They take the first shift of every overtime as they should.
Well, it would be,
there's 10 extra minutes now. That's almost a 30 seconds in a 24 span every game if you do the average, and they're getting multiple shifts. So their numbers will come down there. And when you have an easier win like they had in Seattle, the last 10 minutes of the game, you don't have to play. You can just rotate four lines.
I'm seeing Emerson Good better than he's been. He seems to be coming on a little bit.
Yeah, it's his second year in the NHL, right? Like he's been solid, right? Block shots. To me, the biggest thing in Emerson's game is he has to move the puck quicker. And he's not getting hit as much, which to me shows me he's starting to move the puck a little bit quicker. Because that is, for a guy to lead the NHL in hits received last year when you're only playing 13 minutes a night, that's not good.
Yeah. With Roslovic out, they need some offense from Hyman, from Savoy, from Mangiapane. Well, a couple of those guys got points the other night. That's a good sign. I thought Hyman, that was a nice goal, and that's his office, right? So you need that. Roslovic's going to be out for a time. They need those guys to come through.
Yeah, Roslovic, I don't think he's back until after Christmas. There's a chance, I'll say, before Christmas, but I think realistically it's probably after. Same with Kapanen. And that's too bad for both. Like Kapanen was super excited. I talked to him last week to get back and play, and then to get injured in the last drill of practice kind of sucked. And Roslovic, has been the best secondary scorer on the Oilers, no question about it. So yeah, Mangiapane's got to get some goals here moving forward. He's got one goal, I think, at home this year. So they got a 5-game homestand. He's got to pick it up. I think he had 3 goals in the first 9 or 10 games out. He's only got 1 since. Yeah. So he's a guy who should be a 16 to 18 goal scorer. I always said the 35 was never happening again, but 16 to 18. So you think about that, your goal kind of every 4 games, give or take, right? And now that's 20, of course. So every 4.5, 5 games, fine. But Savoy's doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
The next phase in his development will be to finish a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of aspects of his game.
Me too.
So, that'll help.
Player.
And, I believe with those homestand, less time with Draisaitl and McDavid together is better for the team.
Yeah. And certainly that, I endorse that Nuge line on the third unit. That really has played well. Elliot Friedman on Saturday night said that, the Oilers didn't plan on making a cross move. They weren't going to just trade for a goalie who was also, they were uncertain of. And I thought everybody'd be happy. Nobody was. But I think that's the play here.
This isn't no offense. This is not news. I've written this for months. Why would you trade Skinner for Tristan Jarry? What are we doing? Right. People say that because they're I get a new shiny toy. Yeah. And then you'll be mad at the same shiny toy. It's a different toy, right? 8 games doesn't mean he's back as a 100% consistent NHL goalie. And Binnington, yes, I know he played great in the gold medal, the whatever you want to call it. It's not a gold medal. I don't know, the 4 Nations final, whatever you call it. Well, look at the first 3 games. He had a save percentage, other 900 in every one of them. So 1 game. Oh yeah, he did it 1 time. Yeah. Well, Skinner was unreal in Game 6 against Dallas.
Yeah,
it's 1 game. So yes, I agree wholeheartedly that doing that doesn't make any sense. I've said all along it's more realistic to get someone to come in who pushes Skinner more than Pickard will push him.
Yeah. And Pickard was good the last 2 years. And this year has been tough for him. And I think, he'll get a game here sometime, right?
Yeah. I think so. There's like, they don't have to if they didn't want to, but would you play him against Seattle? Possibly, right? Or you could play him the Winnipeg game. The Winnipeg game, if I was picking games, that might be the game I would pick him. Like, the Jets are going to play their 6th game in 9 nights, the second half of a back-to-back. They did get a big win in Nashville to get their first win, since Hellebuck was announced he was going down. So that's good for them. But, that might be the game where you go Skinner tonight, you go Skinner tomorrow and Thursday. So then you can go Pickard, then you go back to Skinner the following week.
Yeah, that sounds right. I asked Rachel this question. I'm going to ask you too, because I keep looking at these standings, Jason, and is it possible that a legit good playoff team misses the playoffs because of the compressed schedule, and maybe they've got some injuries, and maybe they just have a flow of bad luck, and they end up missing the playoffs, even though everybody knows they're a quality team?
Well, who are you thinking?
Well, Toronto or Florida.
Well, Florida I'd have more concern with. Right, I actually think the Leafs are going to. I think the Leafs will be okay, to be honest, because I don't look at the teams in their division outside of Tampa Bay.
No.
Like, do I trust Boston? Do I trust Ottawa? Do I trust Montreal? Do I trust Detroit? Like, Ottawa, I think when they get Kachuk back, that'll help them for sure. But Detroit's had the fewest games lost due to injury, Al, and they've done nothing with it. Like, you look in their division, and you look at Florida. Florida's had like 100 games more lost than injuries.
They're terrible.
And Detroit really hasn't had any significant injuries of note this year. So that's their roster, basically. Like, Patrick Kane missed 9 games early. That was it. Other than that, they've had their whole roster.
Yeah.
And they're not making any real headway. They're 5th place. Now it's tight. They're only 2 points out. But I'm kind of like, man, am I sold on Detroit? Like, not really. So I think Toronto will make the playoffs. Florida, because we know Barkov's not coming back all year, right? Gadjevich is out long-term. Kulikov's out long-term. Kachuk, maybe after Christmas. But I think Florida, the month of December is key for them. They got to find a way. If they're within 4 to 5 points, Al, I think they're okay. But if that stretches to 10, then it becomes a little bit of a challenge, because you can't ask guys long-term to be more offensive than they are.
No.
And that's, I think, the challenge for any team. Guys can go on a 10, 15 game heater. Right. It's hard to be on a 50 game heater.
That Bettman point is screwing up the standings.
There are more of them, yes, because and I did the numbers after, and I did it on Saturday when there was 390 NHL games played at that point. And last year through that time, there'd be 81 games in overtime. This year, there'd be 109.
Yeah.
So you look, that's 28 more points.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at teams projected to be on pace for 100 points and stuff. It really didn't, we've had 8 to 900 point teams. One year we had 13, funny enough. And this year I think it was 11. So it really hadn't changed there. What had changed was more teams in the 80 point range. And, you look at the bottom team, like in the East, the last years, 91 points has got you in the playoffs. Based on early play, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Right. And usually you do get a little bit more 3-point games in March and April, historically, because teams play a little closer. Like, God, I can get a point tonight. You know what? It's 3-3. Not going to take a chance here. I want to get the point.
Yeah.
Right. We're 3 points ahead of the next playoff team. So it does come into their mindset. So it's making it look more even, Al, than I think there's teams in there that I look at that I'd say very confidently, I don't think they're a playoff team. The Seattle Kraken.
Yeah.
I don't think the Seattle Kraken are a playoff team. I know they're in the playoffs right now. I don't think they're a playoff team. Same with Detroit Red Wings. Like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen anything about Detroit that makes me believe they're a playoff team. So I think it keeps a lot of teams closer. And so that makes you think, oh, maybe, I'm curious though, do we see a little separation in December and then into January? And if we do, then the trade deadline should be more entertaining.
Do you think Dave Hackstall's reputation is improving after what's happened after he left the Kraken? Because he got into the second round in the second year, missed the playoffs the other two.
Yeah.
And then with Milesman, now Lambert, they look ordinary.
Well, if you look at their team, like Seattle is built to be a defensive team. That's what Lane Lambert wants them to be, right? And that's great, but you can't win. You can't win like the New Jersey Devils used to win anymore, Al, in today's NHL. It just doesn't work. There's too much skill top to bottom in the league. You can't clutch and grab like you used to be able to and just slow the game down and be boring as all hell, right? I know the Minnesota Wild, Jacques Lemaire did it one year. They got the conference final. It just doesn't work anymore, right? Like, you can be good defensively, but you got to bring some offense, right? And Seattle doesn't bring any, right? Like, they're going into that game, they were second best, so they might be third best now in goals against. What are they, 29th in goals scored? And so if Shane Wright plays 13 minutes a game, like how do you expect to score if you never play the guys you think are going to be offensive? So I don't know what direction Seattle is. Like, what's their identity? We're going to try to be a defensive team. Okay, great. But you don't have game breakers, right? You just don't. So they try to win games 3-2. That's what they do. And it's funny. Seattle is 10-0-3 when they score 3 or more goals.
No.
But the problem is
they don't do that.
Like, they don't try to score
Yeah.
very often. And to me, it's not a long-term answer in what they're doing. So Dave Hack, I just think I'm a big believer until they get rid of Ron Francis's mindset of being passive and not aggressive. That organization is just going to be the most bland organization in the NHL. I love their unis. I love their arena.
Right.
But they are bland.
Yeah. Their broadcasts are good too. NFL weekend, always interesting. My God.
Hey,
that was some
I
good stuff.
just want to say shout out to the Seahawks defense.
Oh, yeah.
which kept me alive in my guillotine league. What an unreal performance, Seahawks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Also crushed Carius in our other league. So,
well, hey, so
sorry,
that's
Dick.
a bonus.
Yeah,
right?
that was a bonus. Yeah.
Yeah. Declan says the Broncos are the best team in the AFC.
Has he looked at their offense?
Well, he was real strong on it, Jason. He said they're
10-2, and I liked it, but you tell me come playoff time that they're going to win with that offense?
No.
I don't believe.
And they're
Now,
just winning by 2 or 3 points.
yeah. Is there a team that I love more? That's the question. I think that's a valid point. Like the Bills, I don't love the Bills, right? The Chiefs aren't the dominant Chiefs, although you get to the playoffs with the Chiefs, but they got to make it first.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell the Ravens are, right?
No,
the Steelers, no. You know, funny enough, like Jacksonville actually looks all right. Like I would take Jacksonville's offense over Denver's offense, and the Jags defense is pretty damn good too.
Yeah.
But there is no dominant team in either league right now. Now everybody thought the Rams were great. Look at the Panthers.
Yeah,
Look at the Panthers. Now the Rams. Matt Stafford had 2 touchdowns coming in, 2 interceptions, and then he threw 2 in the first quarter. You're like, what the hell is going on? And I don't know why they didn't run Kyron Williams anymore. Like every time he ran the ball, they crushed it, but they stopped running the ball, which is odd to me. So I still think the Rams are good, but the AFC, it's a good question. I don't know if I could make an argument clearly that I say there's a team way better than the Broncos. I just don't think you can win with that offense come playoff time.
Do the Cowboys catch the Eagles for the division?
What are they, 2 back?
Yeah. They got a weird
they got
record.
a tie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have to look at their schedule.
No, but it's easy. The Eagles is a little more difficult.
Yeah.
The Eagles just start playing. Like I was watching the game and I kept saying, how come the offense only goes 3 and out like all the time? The defense was on the entire damn time.
Well, until you're like Jalen Hurts, now maybe it's a perception, but he seems that when he's going to throw the ball, he thinks, well, they might intercept it rather than I might complete this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Because both things can be true at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know. Now AJ Brown had a good week, but man, it just seems like they're way too passive offensively. And like Saquon Barkley, like
he's not the same.
Yeah. Like he ran for 80,000 miles last year. I don't know what it was, but maybe he's banged up. Their offensive line, I know, is not the same, but it's still fairly close. So yeah. But you know what? Are they a team that's just kind of snoozing through the regular season, Al? Maybe. And then they get to the final 3 weeks and they're like, okay, boys, here we go.
Miss Lane Johnson. What's coming up on the show?
Kevin Woodley will join us. So we're going to outline the Wild goaltending. I know, Oilers fans. I know. I'm going to apologize in advance that we have to talk about Wallstead because yes, many of you were correct when you were screaming that that is not a 2020 thing.
No.
It's not hindsight. There was lots of people that the minute the trade was made, lots of people, what the hell are we doing? And hey, that's Ken Holland. If you look at that was probably the biggest. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But him and Tyler Wright, that was their biggest mistake as an organization because you didn't have to trade down. And the guy you trade down was awful. Yeah. Like that trade, because it was right there to take him.
Yeah.
It was right there to take him. And it's not like the organization knew Stuart Skinner wasn't even in the league yet.
No, it's true.
Right? I think he'd played 1 game at that point.
Do you think it's worse than the Zach Parise
or no,
trade?
maybe he played more. It was his first year.
Do you think that Wallstead will end up looking better than Zach Parise did for 15 years after they
traded down for Parise? But the thing was, when they traded down for Parise, there were still other guys available.
Yeah, they just didn't get the right guy.
Like the Pula. I know you're a big fan.
Oh, I liked him a lot.
You loved MAP for a long time, Alec. That was
it's the mono killed him, and then the pubis thing.
Yeah, pubis. Get the hell out of here, pubis. Oh my God.
Pat Quinn said it out loud. It's a word.
Hey, by the way, Do you know who Oliver Ekman-Larsson tied for? He has the second longest scoring streak by a by a Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman, 9 games.
Right. Tim Horton.
Al, I don't know if I could have put this on a tee easier for you when we just brought up Marc-Antoine Pouliot, who's one of your favorite players of all time, who's not very good.
Well, that could be a lot of guys, Jason.
Cody Franson.
Oh,
Cody Franson.
Love Cody
Ian
Franson.
Turnbull
Right.
did it 2 times.
Okay, Ian Turnbull.
And but he has the chance to tie the record for in
Nice.
the next Leafs game. Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Wow.
10 games, longest point streak by a defenseman in.
And that's a long history in Toronto.
Yeah, that's it's 100
long
years
time.
pretty much. So, yeah, but we'll talk Woodley, a lot of goaltending. Sean Brown will be by. We'll talk about the orders and a good game. Lots of NFL talk.
Yeah.
Also, like I do want to touch on like college football.
Mhm.
It's embarrassing what they're doing. What Lane Kiffin decided to do. Like,
Thank you.
What type of message are you sending to your players? Like, why can't you say, hey, you know what? I'll take the job when our season's over.
Yeah.
Like, can anybody explain to me why they have to hire him now? The season's not over. It shouldn't even be freaking allowed. This is the biggest joke in sports.
I agree.
It looks worse all the time. And it is, if they call themselves amateur, well, that's their amateur. Except you can't claim you're amateur when you're paying a guy $90 million.
Yeah.
Can't be both. But that is utter embarrassment. And I hope he loses forever in that organization.
You have made my day by saying that. Did you hear that, Declan?
It's a joke. Don't tell me he's going to defend that move. Well, oh my God.
Not today, maybe.
Okay.
But he will. All right. Look forward to the show. Thanks,
Have a good
man.
one.
All right. On the way, it's Declinations. We'll talk about another sport, but we may get into the Lane Kiffin thing for like the 5th time. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
At Papa John's, our butter chicken pizza is a Canadian favorite, and we think we know why. We start with a velvety, tangy, and subtly sweet sauce. Then it's our better ingredients: fresh, never frozen original dough, juicy grilled chicken, and crunchy green peppers and onions. Sounds delicious, right? Well, wait till you try it. It's butter chicken made better. Order your large butter chicken pizza today for only $19.99. Better ingredients, better
So
pizza,
that
Papa
doesn't work
John's.
then?
Proudly locally owned and operated.
Now for today's holiday special, Legacy Heating and Cooling saves Christmas. Santa's furnace broke down in the shop last night, and the elves couldn't make any toys, that's right, so Santa called up his pals at Legacy Heating. And ho, 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 golly gee, 1 year, no payments, interest-free, and the elves are working merrily with a brand new from Legacy. Happy holidays from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Planning your next event?
Tech
Let
Help is
local
always-
quality
they
market
always
cater.
treat you like
From made to
you're a
order meals to
moron,
gourmet
right?
platters
You
to
know?
full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to
I
skill
do know that
development
much.
for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vimy and Donnan have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
Get ready, Edmonton. Glow Christmas Festival returns to light up the Edmonton Expo Center from December 4th to 31st with dazzling activities for the entire family. Wander the glowing trails, meet Santa in his sleigh, and shop from over 30 local artisans and vendors with handcrafted gifts and holiday treasures, perfect for everyone on your list. Get your tickets and learn more about what's on this season by visiting the calendar of events at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get well, I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Big guests, bigger takes. Jason Gregor brings the names you know and the stories you don't. Weekdays, 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Don't miss a minute of the action on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. That music tells you it's time for Declinations, which is presented to you by Elks Nation. 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth Double E football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. With that, we do a little Mama MMA with Declan Krueger. That's most of the audience. I mean,
Second little gotta throw program 4 on there for myself. Listen, I want to talk a little bit about Dana White came out and announced some headlining bouts, some marquee bouts for the first quarter of 2026, which is going to be coupled with for anyone who doesn't know, UFC is making the transition from their current broadcasting partnership, which is with ESPN and ESPN Plus and the ESPN Plus pay-per-view model, to Paramount Plus. So the first card, UFC 324, looking to roll it out, make it kind of a big spectacle. And the headliner for that bout is going to be Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight championship of the world. First of all, I think this is like the 3rd or 4th interim lightweight title fight in the last 5 years. So clearly something's going wrong in that division. Ilia Topuria, who's the incumbent champion, he came out and said, listen, I'm dealing with some personal stuff. I can't defend the title right now. I got to take care of some things. And you know what? Credit to him. That's all well and fine. But the matchup they decided to go with is ludicrous. Like, Justin Gaethje is a guy, and I like Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, first of all, he's 1-1 in his last 2. The win was against Rafael Fiziev, and this is a little bit hard for me because Rafael Fiziev is one of my favorite fighters. But Rafael Fiziev is not exactly a guy you beat to get a title shot. He's 3-2 in his last 5, and he's 4-3 in his last 7, dating back to 2020 with a couple title fight losses in there. In this 3-1 win streak in the last 4, to give him that credit as to why he should fight for the title. 3-1 in the last 4, 2 of the wins over Rafael Fiziev, 1 a majority decision, 1 a short notice fight by Rafael Fiziev, another head kick win over Dustin Poirier. That was all well and great. Dustin also fought for the title undeservedly, but in the fight before his last, he was knocked out by Max Holloway, who was a featherweight coming up, and thoroughly dominated. So he is a guy who's getting this opportunity against Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, credit to what he's done in the UFC. He's rattled off 7 straight wins, and he's been really exciting, and he's been kind of a guy the company has pushed. But you look at his quality of wins: Michael Chandler, Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson, who was 0-7 in his last 7, Jared Gordon, in which Jared Gordon was robbed. Like, it is becoming entertainment value. We have gone from, the UFC has shifted from putting the best fights on paper to how can we make this the most, how can we make this pure entertainment? I mean, really, that's what it feels like, because you have Arman Sarukian, who is a rightful number 1 contender, riding a 5-fight win streak, 10-1 in his last 11. Probably could have got the decision against Mateusz Gamrot. He's sitting right there. He just fought in November against Dan Hooker. He took no damage in that fight, would absolutely be ready to turn around and fight again. You got Max Holloway, who's 2-1 in his last 3, but those 2 wins, 2 lightweight wins, a knockout win over Justin Gaethje and a win over Dustin Poirier in his retirement bout. You cannot tell me that Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett are 2 more deserving opponents than Max Holloway and Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, I just don't see the argument for it at all. If you want to say it's because Paddy's undefeated, maybe, I guess. But what, his best win is against Michael Chandler? Like, we got to be serious here. Justin Gaethje got knocked out after getting dominated by Max Holloway. Max and Arman both sit ahead of Justin and Paddy in the rankings, and they're getting passed up for this shot. So that's one. That's UFC 324. And oh, by the way, that entire card is being headlined by Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, which is going to be headlining above the best women's fight pretty much of all time. Kayla Harrison, the incumbent champion, and the GOAT of women's fighting, Amanda Nunes, who's coming out of retirement for the bout. They stuck that one as the co-main event so we could get this slop interim lightweight title fight. It's ridiculous. Then this is the real kicker. If you thought I was upset about that, wait until you hear me talk about UFC 325, because Diego Lopez is getting a shot at the featherweight title against Alexander Volkanovski. He is getting it over Movsar Evloev, who is undefeated and lost to. He is getting it over Lerone Murphy, who has never lost in the UFC and is riding, I think it's a 10-fight win streak, and just knocked out Aaron Pico with spectacular finish, who Alex Volkanovski said, hey, I want to fight that guy. So on top of that, Diego fought for the title 2 fights ago and lost to Alex Volkanovski. He gets 1 win against Jean Silva, the 11th ranked guy, and the UFC throws him back into the title fight. Alexander Volkanovski has not fought since he beat Diego Lopez in April. It was just in April. It wasn't that long ago. He beat him in April, hasn't had a fight since then, and they're turning him around and saying, hey, go fight this guy again, while Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy are both sitting right there. Both who are getting it is such a disservice to the competitiveness of the sport. Like, these guys are being overlooked because the promotion feels they lack marketability. And we are, like I said, we are moving away from the best fights possible to just entertainment. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But then you cannot market yourself as, hey, this is the best fighting the best. Because what we've seen in the last little while, possibly what we're going to see with Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman, and what we're seeing now with these 2 headline cards, it is not the best fighting the best anymore. It is a move to an entertainment format, and I think that is terrible for the integrity of the sport.
Does boxing or MMA have integrity? Like, it's not Olympic. It's not like Olympic sports are a little different.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is honestly kind of no. I wish I could find it in my heart to say yes.
Like, I just,
because I love both sports in their purest forms.
Well, I do too. And like, we've talked about this before, but I used to watch the Friday night fights on ESPN, and I loved it. And those guys were no names, but it was great. The commentators were fabulous. They told you exactly what this guy's coming up or whatever. And I could watch that like 1, 2, or maybe 2 hours maybe on a Friday night. And I kept up on the boxing scene. And now the way it's packaged, it becomes like it's like binge drinking as opposed to watching it once a week kind of thing. And yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think what happens is they have found the framework to make the most possible money, and they're chasing that.
Yeah, and boxing got really bad for that. Really, like, I mean, there's a couple things that go into that. One, Floyd Mayweather basically made it. He basically set the model that you have to be an undefeated fighter to have a successful boxing career, which quite simply is not true.
Yes.
But that's the way people look at it. And then, quite frankly, it happened with other fighters before this. And Oscar De La Hoya actually did lose a lot. But Bob Arum, as his promoter, like, he kind of sheltered his investment that was Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya went on to have 6 losses in his career. It's not like he never lost. He actually lost pretty much every big fight he was ever in, minus the Julio Cesar Chavez fights. But the promoters began to realize, hey, we got to shelter our investments to keep them undefeated. And fighters kind of came to be like, hey, I got to be undefeated for this to be a successful career. Those two things coupled with each other made boxing pretty bad for a good number of years. It is getting a little bit better now with the Saudi involvement. But yeah, not great places for either sport.
No. I enjoyed today. We had a nice talk about Lane Kiffin. Maybe we could do that again tomorrow. We have the voice of reason, Donovan, coming in.
I don't think Donovan knows much about college ball, but I do like how animated he'll get because it'll play into what we do.
We'll just give him the setup, and then he'll have to disagree with somebody, and that's his forte.
That's true because we already disagree, so he's going to be on someone's side.
Exactly. So he'll just pile drive, rain down blows, and Josh will make sure it's being photographed. All right. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Jason Gregor on the way to talk about the game on the weekend and the game tomorrow night against Minnesota. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Loca Quality Market. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals waiting at Loca Quality Market. Shop local at loca.ca. Edmonton Oilers news via Jason Gregor. Jake Wallman will not play tomorrow. Later in the week is the goal for him. And Jack Roslovich and Kasperi Kapanen may get into a game before Christmas break, but most likely they will return after. NHL schedule 5 games today. All gets going with a pair of games at 5 o'clock. Columbus in New Jersey taking on the Devils, and Pittsburgh in Philly taking on the Pens. The late game today in the league will see the Utah Mammoth in San Jose to take on the Sharks. 9 games today in the NBA. 3 games tipping off the action at 5. Atlanta and Detroit, Cleveland and Indiana, Milwaukee and Washington. And the late game will see the Phoenix Suns in LA to take on Austin Reeves and the LA Lakers. News around the sporting world is defenseman Cal Foote has signed an AHL deal with the Chicago Wolves. Ekman Larson was on ice at practice today for the Leafs. And the Minnesota Vikings have waived veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen as he does eye a bigger role for his last season. On behalf of Josh Fenwick and Lowetide, this has been Declan Krueger with the Sports 1440 update. Up next, it's the Jason Gregor Show with Jason Gregor and Connor Howley.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton.